don't feel like you need to be sucked in by holiday sales pressure from, marketing teams do a very good job of convincing us that we need to buy all these things and do all these things to be happy. And it's just simply not the case. The things that we value at this time of year should be time with family and not much more than that, to be fair.
Welcome to Checks and Balances. This is Jess and Michaela back with another episode of Dun Dun Dun, The Takeover.
Whoop, whoop.
And today we're bringing Christmas to you just a little bit early because we want to talk about how to budget for Christmas.
Yeah. Is it early though? It's actually not that far away.
It's not. It's October.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's September, but
it's going to come up real quick. And I think this is why it's quite a good time to do this episode. I know, as we've talked about so many times, things are so tough out there at the moment. Budgets are really tight. I know everyone that I'm speaking to is feeling that.
Yeah.
And as we come into this Christmas, it's going to be really important to keep front of mind why we do celebrate Christmas. It's not about the material stuff. It's about time with family, taking a break. So keeping all of that front of mind is going to be really important, I think, this year.
Yeah. And especially like if you leave all of these thoughts, you're like, no, I'll think about it later. I'll think about it later. The longer you put off thinking about it, I guarantee the more money you're going to spend on Christmas gifts because you're going to be last minute, you're going to be rushing, and you're just going to
money out the door. And because all the sales are going to not be the week before Christmas, right? That's when all the shops make their most money, so they're not going to put sales on.
What if you did like new Christmas tradition? You celebrate Christmas on the 27th with your family, and then you do all of your shopping on Boxing
I have
Day.
talked about this for years. I think we should do it with everything at Easter. Think about the day after Easter, how cheap Easter eggs are.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a real cheapskate.
The egg hunt is actually 2 days later.
I know all your friends have already done theirs, but you get yours tomorrow.
You get special Easter.
Yeah. You get all the crappy Easter eggs left over. No, I know, I agree. And I think, like we say, it's so easy to get caught up in the hype and the consumerism and, making sure you've got all the top gifts that year, especially when you've got kids. I think there'd be a lot of pressure. We don't have kids, but there's a lot of pressure, I think, when they're talking with their friends. And there's always, I remember when I was a kid, there was always the cool thing to get for Christmas.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything right now.
What about that giant, did you guys have like a huge catalog you'd get as a kid where you could pick stuff out? This might be an American thing or Canadian thing, but we would have this, I think it was Sears, put out a catalog just before Christmas, and they'd mail it out to all the houses. So you'd be a kid and you'd just see this massive book with all these different toys and clothes, and you'd be sitting there circling all the stuff. Meanwhile, your parents are probably like, oh my God.
Watching the money tick up. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I think, purpose of today is just to make sure everybody's prepared and we have an affordable and enjoyable Christmas, because I think those two things are going to come hand in hand.
They can go hand in hand.
Yeah. We should also say this is from a Sorted article. Sorted has so many great tips and tools on there, and all of these tips are from Sorted. So if you're ever feeling a little bit overwhelmed or like you need to have a read of some of this stuff, check it out. But we'll run through all these tips one by one. So the first one, maximize your spend. So more money doesn't mean more Christmas. I love that. Just because you're spending and throwing money at stuff doesn't mean you're going to get more enjoyment out of it. The idea is that you should focus on your experiences and make the most of the budget that you do have.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, especially when you have kids, again, you can hang on to that image in your head of the giant 90s Christmas tree with the heaping piles of gifts under it. But in reality, you don't need to spend so much money on 50 different gifts. You can do a couple nice gifts and, make a nice dinner.
Do you know what one place that can get really out of control is stockings? Did you have stockings growing up?
Oh, yes. My mom loved to do stockings.
Yeah.
We had huge ones. They were this big.
Yeah, so they can get crazy because all the little things can add up.
Yeah.
So I think because I did Christmas for the first time with my mum last year in a long time because I'd been overseas, and she went all out with the stockings. But you can see all of those, the cost of all the little bits adds up. But you can also do it in a way that's thoughtful and not as expensive. We would always get a little bit of fruit and chocolate and things like that to kind of, I guess, bulk it out.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to open. I don't know.
Yeah. My mom would put things that were like stuff she probably would have bought us anyways, new underwear, socks, hair products, things like that.
Yeah.
And she'd put those in the stocking. So it was like, it felt exciting and Christmassy, but also she was probably just going to buy those at the shop next week
For
anyways.
sure, yeah, and it's just fun. It's just fun to open it. It doesn't have to be expensive. Yeah, so I think the point on that one is making sure that we're spending smart and not necessarily more. Be tactical about what you're buying and make it thoughtful.
Mm,
Number 2, do you make a Christmas list?
I'm not Santa Claus.
Wow,
No, I sometimes I do, but I try and keep personally I try and keep my buying for other people like
quite
to a minimum.
yeah,
Like just like parents, sibling, partner, and like that's it.
I agree. Who like what would you do if I showed up to work with a Christmas gift for you?
Oh,
That would be real
that'd be
weird
so
vibes,
nice.
right?
I'd cry.
But yeah, I agree. I think and it's kind of about who you're going to be with on the day too, because if you're going to be in a group of 30, you're obviously not going to buy presents for 30
No,
people.
that's the kind of thing is that when you have a huge family, you don't want to buy gifts for like your second
No.
cousin's wife,
Mm-mm.
Jolene. But
But then if there's kids there, then you kind of feel you have to
yeah.
again because they're
See,
kids.
this is why you should make a list because then you can actually think,
You
okay,
plan for this.
who is first of all important to me and who is going to appreciate the fact that I've got them something no matter how big or small it is.
Yeah.
And then like think about what you're going to buy those people.
Mm. Do you know what I always do if it's going to be a big group?
Secret Santa?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm always like, should
Yes.
we line up
No,
a
my
Secret Santa?
family does that like on my mom's side of the family. Back home in Canada, I haven't been in years, but in November every year they have like a big family get together, but they do it in November because everybody's away over Christmas
Cute.
and has their
Yeah.
own family things. And there's so many people that we've always just done Secret Santa with
So
like a
much better.
$20 limit.
Yep.
And it's fun too. Like
Of
you don't
course
know
it's
what you're
fun. Do you do
getting.
the version where you steal the presents from the middle?
Yes.
Oh, you do.
Yes.
Controversial.
It definitely ruffles some feathers, especially with the like when the little kids were there and they like don't really
Oh,
they're like stealing is bad. Like
yeah.
what do you
This is
mean
the
you
one
can't do
time.
this? And they get really like upset about it.
Oh, bless. Yeah, no, that can get pretty hectic. So, yeah, Secret Santa's a good one for big groups. And I think, yeah, I agree. Sticking to just that small, close group, it does get different, I think, when kids start coming into the picture and people feel a lot more like they need to buy for the
Yeah.
kids. And especially if that's the kind of Christmas that you grew up with too, like all the aunties and uncles are buying you presents, you sort of feel like you've got to pass that on a little bit. But using a list is going to help keep that under control because
Yeah.
otherwise it is very easy. I think naturally, a lot of us want to be generous, right? And I think all of this, it sort of feels like we're talking about being stingy here, but actually, at the end of the day, we would all love to give everybody a lot more.
If
Like,
I had heaps of money,
oh,
I'd buy everybody in this office a gift.
exactly. Maybe one day it'll be
Maybe.
us. But yeah, I don't think it's about that, but it's about being practical and you can't put yourself out for the sake of buying into this stuff. And if you overspend on Christmas and then you've got your summer holidays and things as well, you've got time off work, so you're probably spending a little bit more. You know, you could spend all of Q1 just financially recovering from the Christmas season. And that is something that we do see a lot with clients. And because we're tracking budgets and things, everyone comes back from Christmas period like, this is going to take a while to
We
come
always
back
have
from.
to say to people like that come to us to apply for a mortgage after Christmas, and they always have a bit of a like mini breakdown. They're like, I'm so sorry, my spending, like this isn't normal. It's just because of Christmas. It's out of whack, blah, blah. And we're like, no, it's fine. Like everybody knows you spend more at Christmas. Like the banks know, we know. No one's gonna be like, I can't believe you bought like $6,000 worth of items in 1 month. Like
We're all
if it was
living
just a
through it.
one-off.
So yeah.
Also, don't spend $6,000
Please
at
don't do
Christmas.
that. How much? Oh, I don't know if that's a real personal question. I'm like, how much do we actually spend on? I guess it depends on the person.
Like on your partner.
Like,
or
what's my
friends?
gift limit? It really
we
depends.
always set, well, at least like my husband and I, we always set like a limit for each other.
Yeah.
So like, okay, this year the max is like $300.
Depending on what's going on, right? So
Yeah.
then
This year it's 0 because we're going on holiday. So no one's getting a gift from us. We're not getting a gift from each other.
like, oh, you're
No
actually
gifts.
leaving for
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yes.
So you're not with the family for Christmas.
No. Well, we will be with my dad, but like his gift could be my
You.
presents.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Okay. No, that's one way to do it.
Actually, I just wanted to say one thing because I just thinking about this. because New Zealand has Christmas in summer, obviously. And where I'm from, we have Christmas in winter. And you basically go like right back to work the day after Boxing Day.
No, you do not.
There's no like break. Like obviously here we have summer break.
Yeah.
And so as you said, you might not be working and so you have all these extra expenses.
Mm.
I kind of wonder if the spending maybe I don't know how to
Worse
phrase this,
here?
like hurts more here.
Yes.
Because you're off
it's
of
a double
work and all
whammy.
that. Whereas back home where I'm from, you just go straight back to work.
Right.
Like
yeah.
unless you've specifically booked time off, and in which case you've probably budgeted for that. But mostly everyone just works up until Christmas Eve and then they're back on the 27th.
That is such a good point. And because then I'm guessing your summer holidays would be July, August.
Yeah.
Would be your sort of 2-3 weeks.
You don't really get a summer holiday unless you're a teacher.
What?
No.
Or maybe this is a better set because I used to, when I lived in London, I was like, this is a way better setup. First of all, Christmas is cold, which it feels like it should be. You get the fairy lights, it's dark, you get mulled wine, Christmas markets, it all
Beautiful
makes sense.
Snow.
Yeah, everything makes sense. And I grew up here, so it still makes more sense to me over there. But maybe it's actually better. Anyway.
I don't know. I wonder if there's a study, like Christmas spending in the Southern Hemisphere versus...
Yeah, that would be so interesting.
I'm interested. Anyway.
Anyway.
Third one, prioritizing useful gifts. So I feel like that would be, especially, this is another one. I'm always going to say if you have kids, but they don't need like the weird shiny pink thing that like throws glitter everywhere and like makes a mess.
Gosh.
Like
What
buy them a book.
There's always something though, with the kids every year. There's a fad gift, like fad toy that everyone has. It's, I don't know, do kids still have Bratz dolls?
Bratz dolls.
Yeah, do you not know these?
No, I do, but I don't think anyone's buying the kids
am I
Bratz
out of date?
dolls.
Probably. I don't know.
Those were cool though. No, there's so many strange kids toys out there right now, and of course every kid is gonna see them on TV or hear their friends talking about them like I need that, but they're gonna play with it 5 times and then forget about it.
100%.
But a book or like experiences, like I know a lot of my friends bring their kids to like the zoo, so they buy like annual passes or stuff like that.
Cute. I've seen some videos of kids at aquariums and they love it. So Kelly Tarleton's could be another good one. Although that is not cheap these days.
It's not cheap. And like, sorry, Kelly Tarleton's, but you're a little bit run down.
Oh no, are they?
Have you been there recently?
I've not. Ooh,
yeah, I was
need a bit of work
in the penguin enclosure.
Aww,
anyway,
that's quite sad. That could be a different podcast, different type of podcast. But yeah, useful gifts for people. So clothes or books. I do love a book. Yeah. I also love candles and plants. Books, candles, and plants. You can't go wrong.
Candles are always so expensive that you don't want to buy them for yourself.
It's a really nice gift. Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to find expensive ones, but things like that are quite cute. With kids, the want, need, wear, read method is one that Sorted has quoted here, which I think is really cool. Want, need, wear, read. If you get them one of each of those things for Christmas, they get 4 nice gifts.
Yeah.
You're ticking all the boxes there. I think that's a really cool idea.
It's a very good motto to live Christmas by.
Yeah. Number 4, compare prices. I think in this day and age, there is absolutely no excuse for getting ripped off. Price-wise, it takes you 5 seconds. And I do this every time I go to buy something. I always pop it into Google, have a look, and often, because I don't know, books, board games, etc., just random things I buy, there'll be a sale on at Wickles, but not at the warehouse.
Yeah,
and
or
I'm saving
online only and not in store. And if you've given yourself time, then you can buy that stuff online from the cheaper place rather than being like pushed into, I was going to say Walmart, but
no,
what
Walmart.
Is the warehouse? That's what I meant.
I wish Walmart. Yeah, no, that's a big one. And I think that really adds up if you're buying several gifts or you've got kids that you're buying gifts for and you're buying a couple of things. $10, $15 of savings per gift doesn't sound like a lot, but it will add up for sure.
Especially if you do have like a big immediate family and you want to buy all those people and their kids gifts.
Yeah.
So James, before we continue, I have got a special announcement.
Have you started sticking to your budget?
Absolutely not.
You finally made it as an after-hours DJ.
I wish. Mate, the thing is, we have got a brand new podcast partner, Partners Life.
You mean the award-winning insurance provider with over 300,000 Kiwis insured?
Yep, they're also a New Zealand-operated company and they are passionate about increasing financial literacy amongst Kiwis.
Sounds like a great match. Where can I learn more about them?
Check out their website in our show notes below.
Really thought DJ Magic Mike was going to be a global sensation for a second.
The next one's really cute. I love this idea, and I quite often do it myself, is make DIY gifts.
What kind of DIY gifts do you make?
Well, I don't know if you've heard, Michaela, but I have a Thermomix.
Oh.
And, and so I've made lemon curd. That's really nice. Don't look at me like that. I promise I'm not part of a pyramid scheme.
I'm just thinking that you're giving like your friends and family the lemon squares, but then under it is like a card like sign up to Thermomix.
No, lemon curd in a jar. That's real yum.
Oh.
So I've definitely done that for a few people because it's really easy to do, but it's so tasty and not something you'd normally have or get.
Mhm.
So yeah, homemade things, baking, crafts. I think when people make stuff, imagining them putting the time and effort into making the thing is actually really sweet.
It is very
And
nice.
I love that. My mum always hand paints her cards. I think ever since
Ooh.
she retired, she does watercolor painting, and so
Oh,
all of my cards
nice.
are handmade.
That's
And I just
cute.
love it. It's so cute.
My mom she won't accept any gifts that aren't DIY'd. Like
Oh my
either it's
gosh.
got to be made by you or it has to be made by like a local artisan. Like you have to
It's
be
so
supporting
sweet.
the small businesses or doing it yourself, or she's like, it's just
Don't
not good in
bother.
her books. Like,
Yeah.
which is it's good. She's always been very like conscious of supporting local and the environment and all of that jazz.
I love
So,
that idea. I think it's such a, and it's obviously instilled some of those values in you too. So if we're kind of setting those parameters for us, our families, then it's kind of bringing kids up with that stuff
Yeah.
in mind as well.
I do always DIY my cards, not the gifts, but if
Mm.
it's for my parents, I always like draw the card myself.
Oh my gosh, I want to see these.
Yeah. Oh
Did
my
you-
God, you should see my dad every year for his birthday for the last like 20 years. I've been like making him a card, and I usually draw a picture of him doing something different every time.
What? Oh, I would love to see this.
Yeah, he's got a box of them somewhere.
Oh my gosh, yes, please send us the photos. I think when it comes to my friend Courtney, she's a teacher, and they have a really cool thing with their work. So, some workplaces do Secret Santa. We don't really do it here. It's not a thing.
We did once.
One time.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't remember how it went down, so it probably wasn't good.
Maybe not so good. But yeah, if workplaces do Secret Santa, this is another really good one to apply to that. So her workplace, you either had to re-gift, repurpose, or make it yourself for the Secret Santa. I was like, that's really cool because, you're getting together as a team, you're celebrating Christmas, giving, which is also really fun, but
Mhm.
you're repurposing stuff,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
What did they categorize regifting as? Like
Mm.
literally something someone's given you and you like
Yeah. That you're like, this is not for me, this is not my
Yeah.
vibe, but I know that person's going to like it.
yeah.
Makes sense, right? Instead of just chucking it away,
Yes.
you might as well pass it on. Yeah, so that was quite cute. The next one, I love this, and I think my family's really about this, is focusing on experiences. I
Mm.
think when I was growing up, we didn't spend a lot of money on stuff, but we did, my parents took us traveling, and we did a lot of really cool stuff as a family together, and I feel the same way now. I'd much rather do something together
Yeah.
that, as an experience as opposed to have stuff.
Yeah.
So I think, you're making memories together. Yes, it may cost money, but I think the value in that, for me personally, is more than
that
a
goes
thing.
back to one of the earlier points, like maximize your spend. That's if you're going to take your family somewhere on a trip, they're probably going to appreciate that and remember that way more for the money than if you bought them like 20 gifts that equated to the same amount.
Yeah, and stuff that, like, we did a trip to the US when I was 12-ish. I still remember that 6 weeks driving through America. We did
Did
Disney.
you go to Walmart?
I didn't. I don't remember what. Went to the Grand Canyon though. Like, we did like lots
There's
of
probably a Walmart in there.
Yeah, we did lots of really cool stuff, and I still remember it. Whereas the stuff they got me, I don't remember probably so much.
Yeah. I was a stuff kid. I
Were ya?
always got stuff. We
Mhm.
didn't really go anywhere, which is like fine, but I do remember the stuff.
Fair
No,
enough.
I lived like super, super rurally. Like we're talking in the woods kind of thing. But I still went to like school, of course. But my grandma, she didn't know what to get me because it was like, well, you're way over there in the woods.
Oh
So
my gosh,
she
you
used
need
to,
stuff.
yeah, so she'd send me every Christmas like a giant box that was just full of like clothes she had bought through the year
Oh,
for
see, that's
me.
useful though. That's
That's
the,
true, actually. It is useful.
you know,
Except because she didn't see me often, she was always just guessing what size I was. So she would send me things that wouldn't fit me for like 5 years because they were so big.
and then by the time you get there, it's out of fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. Oh, that's so
But,
funny.
there's the thought that
Bless
counts.
it, totally. Cool. And the last one to kind of wrap this up is sticking to your budget. So don't feel like you need to be sucked in by holiday sales pressure from, marketing teams do a very good job of convincing us that we need to buy all these things and do all these
Mhm.
things to be happy. And it's just simply not the case. The things that we value at this time of year should be time with family and
Yeah.
not much more than that, to be fair.
And probably I'd say social media plays a huge role in that now too, because now it's not just the TV advertisements saying like these are the hot new things. Now you've also got like thousands of people on videos and posts and pictures saying like, oh, and these things like you should be getting your girlfriend this, or you should
Yeah.
be, doing this, spending all this. And usually everything they're showing is like crazy expensive.
And for all you know, they probably got it for free.
Yes, exactly. They're
So,
just promoting it.
yeah, you cannot
There
compare
is
yourself.
I think it's Denizen magazine here. They're like a lifestyle magazine. They send out these newsletters once a month, and they have like a gift guide in them. And they must be a luxury magazine, which I didn't realize when I like signed up for the newsletter.
Oh,
I'm like, oh,
damn.
gift guide, cute. And it will literally be like this like bougie paperweight that costs like $5,000 from like
What?
Chanel or something. It's like you should get your mom this.
That's a very different
I know. I just signed up
demographic.
to it because I wanted to know about like restaurant openings, and then I'm like, oh, gift guide, cool. And then I was like, no, that's not. I'm not
Don't
the
need
target
myself a
audience for that.
$5,000 paperweight. No thanks. Yeah, so I think the key to sticking to the budget is make that list, make sure you know who you're buying for, stick to that plan. It's like we always say with everything, if you have a plan and stick to it, it's pretty
Yes.
hard to go far wrong.
Another last thought I was just having. I saw a video the other day of this girl, and this is so simple, but I'd never thought of it before. She like throughout the year, if she just sees something that she knows one of her friends or family will like, she'll buy it and then just save everything until Christmas to give it as gifts.
Smart.
And so not only does she save heaps of money in the like months leading up to Christmas because she's already bought most of her gifts, they're also extra thoughtful because she's been, maybe out traveling somewhere, or she's been out and she's seen something very specific that like speaks to her as being for that person.
Yeah, that's so
And then
sweet.
they get it at Christmas. So she's saved time, money. It's a thoughtful gift.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. It made a lot of sense.
Really cool. And sort of tied to that, because when we do budgets with clients, I think a lot of us forget to put a gifts. We forget to allocate for gifts.
Yeah.
So if you're putting your budget together, it is worth just popping it because things are always happening. You've got birthday parties, things come up all the time where you've got to buy gifts for people or you want to buy gifts for people. So it's worth allocating a budget to that, and then it's expected.
Like a gifts account.
Yeah, or like just a category that's like, I'm going to spend $50 a month on gifts, and then some months you may not spend that, some months you're going to spend more, but over time, at least you've allocated the money and it's there for that reason.
There's this thing my mother-in-law does, and it's a New Zealand thing, but you go and I think you go to maybe it's Countdown or Pack and Save. It's one of the grocery stores, and you like pre-buy through the year these.
Oh,
do you know what this is?
Crisco?
Maybe.
Is it a
and then
Crisco
like
Christmas hamper?
at Christmas time you get like
A basket of food?
something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get it because I feel like she's not saving any money.
I'm pretty sure we should look into
Is it
this.
a scam?
I don't think it's a scam, but I also don't think it's saving money. And I think the issue I take with it is that I don't know how it works, but do you just kind of get given, you get what you're given as far as what's in the
From
hamper?
how I understand it is that every time she grocery shops, she puts a little extra on her like account towards this end of the year thing. And then at the end of the year, I think she gets a bunch of vouchers or something.
Oh, well.
But
it's kind of forced savings, basically. It's a
Yeah.
forced savings account for your Christmas food. Crisco Christmas hampers could have been a different thing because I think you'd put money aside and you get these hampers at the end of the year. But to me, it seems, I don't know what the go is with them anymore, but it seems inefficient because you might not want some of that stuff.
I'm picturing in my head when you say like a hamper full of Christmas stuff, I'm picturing like like canned preserves and like a
bit.
I don't know, like a raw turkey.
A bit. Yeah, I think it was a bit like that. It was kind of like,
A
here's
ham.
everything you need to have food over the Christmas period, whether it's nibbles and main meals and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they put this hamper together, and then you don't have to think about what you're eating or what you're doing. You just get this hamper. But I don't know if it's efficient, to be
It's
honest.
also a good point because another thing that you spend a lot of money on at Christmas time is the food. Because you know, it's traditionally in everyone's head that you have to have this giant Christmas feast. There's got to be all these different like spread of foods. And to be fair, you don't actually have to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
In Japan, they eat KFC at Christmas.
I am obsessed with that
Like,
tradition.
Yeah, you
I
don't
love it.
have to do all of this huge thing. And the other thing is, if you're hosting your family, ask them to bring the side stuff and you just make the ham. Or you
Nothing
just
wrong
make
with
the turkey.
delegating. Nothing wrong with delegating. You bring the Brussels sprouts, potluck, whatever you're doing. My dad, it's just me and my dad and Blade this year for Christmas, but Blade's working. But my dad wants a turkey. I don't even know where you get turkeys.
Turkeys are, because this is a rant I have. Turkeys are so expensive in New Zealand.
Yeah,
it's insane. So
Dad's
back home, turkeys are so cheap. Like you could spend $13 on like a big turkey, and you know it's delicious if you know how to cook it right. Anyways,
yeah, you
most
have
people
to do it
don't.
Right. Yeah,
but here they're insanely expensive.
Yeah, it's a
I
treat.
couldn't believe it. And I'm not really a ham. Because usually ham
here or
right?
barbecue, of course.
Yeah, or barbecue. I'm not really a ham person. I do kind of miss having a giant turkey
But
on the table.
The thinking here is like, we don't need to have a ham and a turkey and a blah, blah, blah. Like, let's be efficient, plan. I think it comes back to the same points. If you're planning what you're doing, and my family's big on the meal plan. My mum's all about the meal plans. So if you're putting together a meal plan, you're not sporadically buying stuff in a scatty way. You buy exactly what you need for the event, and it's more efficient and cost effective.
Exactly. As a wrap up, do you have any Christmas traditions that your family's done?
Do you know, I can't remember as a family. We probably did. It's funny because you don't realize something's a tradition until you realize that you're the only ones that do it.
That's true.
But now, definitely my Christmas traditions that I'm starting are watching Spirited, which is a Christmas musical on Apple TV, and everyone should watch it. It's so great.
I haven't heard of it.
It's got Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
Will Ferrell in a musical.
And Ryan Reynolds. So good.
I'll
Anyway,
give it a go.
if you're into musicals, check it out. And the other one, which I absolutely love, is on Netflix, and it's called Klaus. And it's this animated movie about how Santa Claus came to be, and it's so cute. Yeah, so watching those, little mulled wine.
I've actually... No, I have had mulled wine once because you made it for me.
Yeah,
but that's the only time I've tried it.
Wild.
Yeah.
And you're from
Maybe it's a
the
British
cold
thing.
place. Yeah, weird.
The cold place.
What about you?
It's
What are your
very
Christmas
threatening.
traditions?
At the minute, I don't think I have any, but there was a brief while where my dad and my sister and I, every Christmas, like at Christmas Eve, we would watch this movie on Netflix called A Very Murray Christmas. And it's like a very dry humor, also musical with like Bill Murray.
That sounds hilarious.
And there's like all these like random guest celebrities, like Miley Cyrus is in it, George Clooney's in it, Maya Rudolph, and it's just, I don't know, it's a stupid movie, but we watched it every Christmas Eve for like, I think it came out in maybe 2014 or something.
Yeah, amazing. I love that.
And but the last two Christmases, I haven't watched it because one, I'm over here and I'm a bit over it, I think.
Yeah, it starts to wear thin.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christmas traditions are a really nice way to spend time together, like not focus on the material stuff.
Yeah.
So if you've got some Christmas traditions that I can steal for my family, list them in the comments. Cool. Well, I think we will finish up there today. Hope you've got some really useful tips and tricks for preparing for Christmas. Good luck out there. And don't get sucked in.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks so much to Partners Life for sponsoring this episode. Don't forget to like, review, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.